Welcome to the Seeker's Hollow. I'm Brian, and welcome back to our true solo playthrough of Terra Invictus, the campaign setting for the ShadowDark system. In the first episode, we created our character. We have Kaylin, the human delver, and delvers are specialists in exploring dungeons and finding hidden things and deciphering hidden things, and sort of a Indiana Jones type of character. So we created our character last time, and one thing that I found with the character creation is I kind of forgot about the gear slot limit. So we are limited by our strength, and so that would be 14. And what I'm going to do, just to kind of help facilitate solo play, because we really don't have any other party members to help us, I'm going to allow the strength bonus to also be added to that. So it's going to give us 16 slots. And I had to go ahead and remove one torch because we were at 17. So we're now at 16. And I've circled 16 just to remember that that's what our limit is right now. And so we just briefly started out our adventure last time in Cabiria. And we have our kind of adventure hook, which is to find Ahman Redbeard. And we know that Ahman Redbeard is over in Morieux, which is going to be a few hexes away. So we want to think about what we can do right now. Now, one thing I would really like to do is to get like some health potions or something like that. But we only have 3 gold, so I think it's not going to be very likely that we'll be able to buy some of those. So we probably need to do something to get our gold a little bit higher. And also, considering the small amount of gold that we have the opportunity to travel over to Morieux by taking a ground transport. And if we were to do that, it would actually cost 4 gold. But looking at the solo rules here, if you pass a DC 12 charisma check, you can actually get the transport for half price. So this is kind of an interesting little thing here right now where our fate is in the balance. Can we possibly get some quick and easy travel over to Morieux? Because as far as I'm aware, you don't need to roll random encounters and all that. Plus your travel time is like cut in half being on the ground transport. So it could save us potentially going through some dangerous areas or running into some dangerous combats and bringing us to Morieux. So if we can complete that check, then we can travel there. And I still might roll something when we travel if we actually do get to go on the cart, but we'll see. We have one other thing that we can do just quickly is that we can read this rumor here, because these rumor icons, these are free. You don't need to make any kind of check for that. So let's read this rumor icon that we have right here. It says that people in town are discussing an attack on a caravan bringing supplies from Holgate, and Arakakra from the Anga Peaks are believed to be responsible. And Arakakra, I guess those are the Birdman kind of race from Dark Sun. That's what it sounds like to me. That's where I know them from. I don't know if Arakakra were invented before that, but anyway, I like the Dark Sun reference there. If that is indeed what that's about. But Holgate is over here. We're not going to be heading that direction or anything, so I don't think we'll do anything there. We do have the possibility of getting rumors and stuff like that if we wanted to spend time and money, but again, we're very limited on money. And there are some NPCs that we could possibly talk with as well, and temples that we could visit. But generally speaking, there's nothing else that we're really interested in right now in Cabiria other than maybe trying to get some potions. But again, we only have a very limited amount of money, so I think we're going to roll for this charisma check, and we'll see if we can maybe get half price on the ground transport. And all right, we got a 19, and then of course we've got a +5 bonus, so we definitely succeeded with flying colors there. So we are going to get a half price, and so normally it's 4, so it's going to be 2 gold. So we will happily pay the 2 gold, and then we will get to travel on the, I guess some kind of a cart or carriage or something like that. And we'll get to travel over to Morieux, so it's not really that far away. At the like double speed, so this is going to be like 2, 4, probably, it looks to me about 5 hours of travel. And I do have another sheet here that I can use to track that. This is something that I got off of Itch a little while back, but there are some things in here that we're not going to use, like with these wandering monster checks. They don't really line up with the ShadowDark rules. This is not made specifically for ShadowDark, but each of these is a 2-hour block. And of course, in ShadowDark, you are given 8 hours per day for travel, and of course you need 8 hours to camp. And then the rest time, if you needed to rest because you were injured, or maybe I would kind of use this as like flex time. So if you need to spend some extra time talking to NPCs, stuff like that. So that way you can track everything you're using. And I'm kind of getting more and more interested in tracking time, like very accurately when I can in tabletop role-playing games, because I think the decisions that you make are very important, and time is always a very important issue in real life. And of course, if you can kind of simulate that in the game as well, it makes your decisions very valuable. So we're going to spend 5 hours of travel, which means that we're going to be using 4 hours and then a half hour. So what I'm doing here is an X is complete 2 hours, and then a one single slash is a 1 hour block. So we've used up 5 hours so far of our travel time by going in the like horse cart or whatever it is that we're on. And I do want to have the possibility of something happening. Again, I think that you do not have to have encounters, but there is some cool tables in here of like just something random happening, which is not necessarily an encounter. And I would like to roll maybe something on there just to spice things up a little bit. And, I think whatever you're doing, like if there's nothing risk, then there's nothing gained. So there should always be a little bit of risk maybe with something that you're doing. So, okay, on page 118, we have this something happens table. And there's a lot of cool tables actually in ShadowDark and in the GM companion guide that I have over here. There's a lot of cool tables and stuff like that of things that can happen. And I'm actually kind of like, I kind of want to have some of these things happen and just sort of see what crazy stuff we can get into. So some of these actually wouldn't make any sense for traveling like by a horse cart. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll 2 of them, and I'm going to pick the one that seems the most appropriate for the situation, and hopefully at least one of those 2 will work out. So we need to do a D100 roll here. So let's grab our D100 dice, and that looks like a 13 right there. So one of them is going to be a 13, and oh, we got 13 again. That is crazy. What are the odds of that? Well, let's see what 13 is anyway. A man slips a note and an odd potion into your hand. Oh, look at that. There's a potion. All right, we're going to go with this, and the dice are telling us to. So what is this note? He slips a note and an odd potion into our hand. Okay, that's very, very cool. So I think what we'll do with the odd potion is we will roll up a random potion. The only thing is our character is not going to know what it is. So we will maybe know what it is, but our character is not going to know what it is. And so let's roll up a random potion. Okay, and then I think what we'll do is whatever the potion is, we'll let that kind of guide us for what could be in the note. And I have some other tools that we can use to possibly determine what is in the note, such as the deck of signs. This is from Tales of Argosa. So anyway, let's see what the potion is, and I think that will guide what this could be actually about. So first we're going to roll a D8 to see about our potion features. And that's going to be a 7. So we've got chili, okay. And we can roll up to 3 features. Okay, let's roll 3 features, I guess, and see. So it's chili, there's tiny stars and moon. So like a chilly night, and there's a floral smell. So that seems relatively pleasant to me. It looks like, well, maybe isn't a bad thing. Other than the chilliness, I guess. Okay, now we're going to need to do a potion benefit. So let's go ahead and roll for that, which is going to be a D12. And that is a 4. So that says fly a near distance for 5 rounds. Okay, so it's a potion of flying. And let's roll to see if there's a curse. We're gonna roll the we're gonna roll these Oracle dice. Oh, these are also from Tales of Argosa. So it's just gonna be a simple yes, no. Is there a curse? And that is going to be a yes, because this is the judgment die, and it cancels out the no when you only have a single no. And of course, that's kind of a nil result there. So yes, there is a curse. So maybe there are nefarious purposes for this potion, and combining that with flying could actually result in something pretty dangerous. So we're going to roll d12 again and see what the curse is. And that is a 5. You forget all languages that you know for 1 hour. Okay. So whoever imbibed this potion would forget all languages that they know for an hour, and they would be able to fly a near distance for 5 rounds. So flying and not knowing any languages. That sounds like something that could ruin someone's social event, possibly. So it sounds like maybe we have a potion here that is maybe meant to confound someone's ability to talk with someone, and also to maybe possibly make a mockery out of them by them floating up in the air and flying. It seems to me like this might be something to do with maybe some of the nobility or some of the government people, something like that, possibly. Let's see here. Let's take a look at the deck of signs and see if we can come up with something for that. This will give us a lot of different keywords and things to go with here. So I'm going to shuffle them up really quickly, because I probably haven't shuffled them in a while. Oh, that was a bad shuffle there. Let's do that again. Okay, so we got them shuffled pretty well, and we're going to take out 2 cards and see what these tell us. So, oh, look at that. We've got noble right there. So this is definitely to do with some kind of noble, wealthy, ordering arrogance. Okay, that lined up perfectly. And then obelisk, guiding, obvious, sacred. So, okay, we're definitely going to use this one. So I think the note is something... the note is about a noble, a wealthy noble who is arrogant and bossy. And we have this directional arrow here. So if we were to look at where we are, maybe it's something to do with a noble in Iridon, possibly, or in Limors. So let's just roll I think we'll just roll a D6, and 1 to 3 is going to be about Aerodon, and 4 to 6 is going to be about Lemurs. All right, so 1. So there's going to be a noble in Aerodon who is wealthy, arrogant, and bossy, and they're trying to use this potion to humiliate them. And maybe it's to get back at them for doing some evil actions. I'm not sure what we can do with the obelisk here exactly. We might just toss that one out for now. Yeah, I think we'll just toss that out. This one really lined up perfectly, I think, with kind of how that appears. So we've been given this potion, and it says to give it to. It says to plant it somewhere in Aerodon. So I don't know if we will actually do that, but that's an interesting potential quest that we have. And I will keep that card maybe just to remind us of that quest. And I'll write something down. But of course, the potion itself, our character does not know what it is. So we could consider getting it identified later on if we have the money to do that. So, okay. So that was kind of an interesting little aside there that happened on our way. And now we have arrived over in Morieux, and we are going to take a look at what we have there for us. So this is going to be Hex 3018. And here is Morieux. And actually, Morieux is actually one of the starting... Morieux is one of the starting towns that is recommended, starting locations or it's going to be a city actually. So Morieux has 8,852 residents. There's 100 guards. It's 95% human, lawful. There's a temple of Lasra, and there's also a temple of Anuna. And as we arrive, it's cool and windy with an ever-present stinging drizzle, and the sky is overcast. So Morieux is a pivotal mercantile town along Landeron's southern frontier. It serves as a vital trade link between the Rand and Hool River valleys, and the land is rich but threatened by a wild and unknown frontier. Okay, and let's see if there's anything else going on. Okay, we do have ground transport available. I don't think we have any. Okay, we do have a rumor here as well. This rumor we can read for free. A giant eagle has been taking livestock from local ranches recently. Okay, so we're going to want to be wary of that. And again, we spent 5.5 hours traveling here. So if we say we started at 6 a.m., so we are now it's now 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon. And if we want to go and talk with an NPC or engage in one of these actions, it's supposed to take about 1 hour to do. Although rumors, if you want to engage with rumors, that supposedly takes about 1 complete day to do that. So, but we know that we want to talk to Ahman Redbeard, and we can see that he is located here in Morieux. So if we want to talk to him, we do need to pass a check here. And let's see about that check. So according to the rules, a NPC is going to be a DC 12 check. This is a non-player character that you can interact with. And if you succeed, then you can read the description and you can role-play the interaction. And if you fail, they're going to decline your company and walk away. But you can reattempt another day unless you roll a natural 1. So we really don't want to roll a natural 1 here because that could be pretty detrimental to what we're trying to do. So let's go ahead and roll here. And once again, we've got a pretty good, bonus here. So we've got a really good chance to succeed. Oh, and I almost thought that was a 1, but that's going to be a 7. So if we add our bonus, we're looking at 12. And that is going to be enough. We just got enough to talk to Ahman Redbeard. So let's see what he says. So Ahman Redbeard is a dwarf fighter on his deathbed at the Temple of Anuna, and his lungs have been heavily damaged by fungal spores. So he's in a pretty bad state. He is the sole survivor of an expedition into the ruins of Mire Court. He describes dangerous fungi that wiped out his party. Okay, so that's good that we are aware of that. And again, he's talking about the ruins of Mire Court, and we are very interested in that. So we're going to say that the ruins of Mire Court have deadly fungi. So that's certainly an important thing to know. But we want to ask him, about the ruins. Like, can he tell us where they are? So, he'll give us some information, and he'll tell us that, of course, they are in Mire Court, and he's going to give us some information about how to find them when we get there. So we shouldn't have too much trouble, at least finding relatively where the entrance is at, because he will explain that for us. And then another thing that we can do is we can roll to see if he will tell us any further information that he is aware of. And of course, this is pretty valuable information. And so I think we're going to have to, we could probably do another charisma check, I suppose, and we'll see if he will tell us further information. Maybe we can persuade him to give us as much information as he is aware of. And 18, okay, so we'll definitely pass that. And if we look in the original version of Terra Invictus, and we go to the info page, kind of the introduction to the ruins of Mire Court, we have a table here, and it tells us some information about the ruins. And this uses a points of familiarity system, but I think what we'll do here is, because we persuaded him to give us more information, we're just going to roll on this as a D10 table, and he will tell us another thing. Now, he already told us about the fungi, which I think is one of the entries here. Let's see if I can find that. Oh, yeah, okay. So number 3 here is there's an infestation of fungus in the upper levels. that is being farmed by evil residents that have occupied the structure. So, all right, so let's roll on this table and see. He'll give us one more random thing here. So we're going to roll a d10. And we got number 1, so he's going to tell us one more thing. The ancient Asharati Empire built an embassy to the dwarven people underneath the town of Myrcourt in southeastern Landaron. Okay, so the original ruin of this, the original purpose of this ruin is an embassy to the dwarven people. So, and it's, it's in the ground. So dwarves obviously live in the ground. So it was a way to, looks like it was a way to have, normalized relations with the dwarves. And of course, we've got lots of other information here that we will look at when and if we do make it there. So, all right. So we got some great information from Ahman Redbeard, and we thank him very much for his information, and we wish him well on recovering from the fungi. And of course, if we had any kind of a special way to heal him, we certainly would try, but we don't, unfortunately. But it looks like things have gone pretty well there, and we have more information about the ruin that we want to get to. So, all right. So it looks like we're probably going to want to stay the night here in Morieux, and we're going to want to find some kind of inn or something that we can stay at. Now that took about 1 hour there, so it's now 2:30. So we do have a little bit more time if we wanted to do something else. Looks like there's some other things that we can unlock here. There's also something about trade, and this is like a unique trading opportunities in the area, and you could take advantage of the opportunity if you succeed. If you fail, you could reattempt later after a certain number of days. So this is going to be a DC 9 charisma check. So let's try and see if we can find out that information. It may not be anything that we want, but it doesn't hurt to find out. So we rolled a 7, so we will pass with our bonus. And it says that Morieux is a major production center for wagons and carts. Large carts can be purchased for 80 gold, and small carts can be bought for 40 gold. Wagons can be bought for 160 gold, and draft horses can be bought for 200 gold. Okay. So if we had the money, we would probably be able to get a nice discount on a cart in this area. Now we are looking at what, 3:30 in the evening. So we still could spend some more time, possibly talking to some NPCs. So we have Count Jacays. I wonder if that's a reference to Janelle Jacays, the designer from the TSR era. And then we've got Darian Montalban. We have Goran Meshir, and some other different things going on there. It would be nice if we could find a way to get some money somehow, because we have 1 gold, and I hope that would be enough for us to stay in an inn or something. Otherwise, we might have to go camp outside of the town. So maybe we can talk to one more of these NPCs, and they could possibly give us some kind of good information. Who do we want to talk to? Let's try talking to Count Jacays, I guess, and see if anything else could happen there. So we're going to roll for our charisma check again. And that's 11, and with our bonus would be looking at 16. We need 12 to pass, so we do pass there. So Count Jacays is the ruler of Morieux, and he lives in a manor house just north of town. All of his soldiers, outside of his personal retinue of 20 household guards, were seized by the Duke and placed under control of a Colonel Lynette at the start of hostilities. They constructed a wooden fort south of town. A few months ago, Lynette burned the fort and marched his forces southeast. They have not been heard from since. Jacays will pay 100 gold for the location of the force and 500 gold for Lynette's head, whom he is certain is a cowardly deserter with his dastardly plans. All right. Well, that's a little bit of interesting activities going on, but it's not really the kind of the forte of Kaylin, our character, getting involved in some military and factional intrigue here. All right, so now that puts us at about 4:30 in the afternoon, and I think we could still maybe talk to one more person if we wanted to. I guess we'll try to talk with Darian Montalban. So let's see if we can talk with this NPC in 16. Okay, that we will pass the check. And Darian Montalban is an infantry recruiter in the service of the king, and he is working desperately to recruit soldiers for the war with Morieux. He can also inform the party that there is a marvelous town site to the southeast at 3121. The king is willing to grant noble title to anyone who can clear the land and make it safe for settlement. Construction costs must be paid by the aspirant. Oh, okay. Well, paying construction costs for a site is definitely something that we don't have the ability to do right now. And of course, being able to get noble title would be pretty nice, but that's pretty far outside of our wheelhouse right now. So it's now 5:30 in the evening, and I think we are going to go ahead and stay the night, and we'll have to see if we have enough money to stay here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we've only probably got the money to stay at a poor tavern, and actually I've never looked up any rules for staying overnight in a settlement, so I'm not seeing anything about inns or anything like that, which I'm a little bit surprised, but I guess we could just deduce from the cost of food or the quality of a tavern that we could probably they have rooms there which would be at that rate, so we're definitely going to have to stay in a poor tavern. But yeah, I feel like I might be doing something wrong, and there are like inns or some rules for staying overnight in settlements, but I didn't find anything in the core rulebook, and I think we'll use the generation rules from the GM companion here to bring up to generate a tavern. So let's go ahead and generate one. We're going to roll a d20. So we got a 2, which is going to be the tepid. Number 5 is going to be the tepid wretch. Okay, that sounds very poor. So that's exactly what we want. We want something cheap and poor. And what is this place known for? It is known for raucous practical jokes. Okay, the tepid wretch known for raucous practical jokers. That sounds like it's going to be poor quality. So that's exactly what we want. We're going to have some menu items. So it's only 1d4 copper for the price. So that's pretty affordable for us right now. So number 16, they've got bitter fruit salad. And they've got a chilled radish ham. Okay, I guess we'll go with the chilled radish ham. And how much is that going to cost? Let's roll a d4 for that. That's going to be 3 copper for that. Okay, we can afford that. No problem. And then I guess we'll say that to stay there, it's going to be 1d6, maybe 1d6 silver to stay there, I guess. So it's going to be 5 silver to stay there. So we're going to spend 5 silver and 3 copper. So let's see what that's going to leave us with. Okay, so we're down to 4 silver and 7 copper. And that's going to allow us to stay the night here in Morieux. And that's also going to take care of our food for the evening. And it looks like we could roll a drink as well. That would probably be something good to do. Let's see, did we have drinks in the companion book? Let's take a look there real quick. Yeah, we've got some drinks as well. So a poor tavern can serve 2 drinks. We'll roll a 1d8. So it's got number 6. It's got the bacon broth beer. It actually sounds kind of good. That's 1 silver. And then number 2 is Caliban's cream, which is 2 copper. Occasional hacking cough for 3 to 4 hours. Oh, man. All right, well, We're going to go with the Caliban's cream because it's cheaper. So that's going to be 2 copper. Let's see how long we're going to be coughing. 3d4 hours. So we're going to be coughing for 5 hours after drinking the cream, the Caliban's cream. All right, and that was 2 silver for that. So let's go ahead and check that off. We're going to be down to, or no, that was, sorry, 2 copper, I believe. So we're going to be down to 5 copper. And we are all watered and fed for the evening. And we'll pass into the next day. And now we are going to be wanting to head over to Meyer Court and use this information that we acquired from Ahman Redbeard. And let's go ahead and check off where we have traveled. So we took the cart over, and let's see, I'll say that we went through these hexes here on the cart, and now we want to get to Meyer Court. So I'm going to make a little dot there to show that that is going to be our next objective, to get over to Meyer Court. Okay, so that's going to wrap up this episode. So thank you once again for joining me. And next time we'll head over to Meyer Court. So I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.